Hello and welcome to ETBFSI.com. My name is Amol. And I'm in conversation with none other than Mr. Nilesh Sathe, who's an expert when it comes to the insurance business because he worked with the life insurance industry for a long time. And the company which he represented as a top notch in the insurance sector was none other than Life Insurance Corporation, which is LIC. He also worked as a whole-time member at IRDAI, and now he's advising to a lot of insurtech financial companies and many more in the BFSI space. So glad to have you, sir, here.
Thank you. Thank you, Amol.
So to begin with, finally, the LIC IPO is here. The DRHP is out, and we understand the size of the total company, which is called an embedded value, is around 12.50 lakh crores. In fact, I remember you were saying the same thing about the 5 to 2% stake, which we also reported at ET earlier.
Yes.
On ETBFSI.com. To begin with, when they're trying to dilute the 5% of stake, which will be anywhere between 65 to maybe 75,000 crores, how do you see the whole structure of IPO panning out in terms of how will it be beneficial for LIC, how will it be beneficial for government, and how will it be beneficial for the policyholders at large? Your first reaction.
You're absolutely right. Actually, all stakeholders will have win-win situation. It generally doesn't happen, Normally, if somebody wins, there is somebody else who loses, like we have seen in the stock market. But this is typically an IPO in which all the stakeholders will be benefited. Now, let us go one by one. First, let us see how government will get benefited. Now, this is one company, by selling just 5% of its stake, government is going to raise at least 60,000 crores for obviously developmental purposes like infrastructure and everything. And this was well thought of, that a company which is doing well should actually be monetized. It should not happen like Air India. The company which was doing so well at one point of time with Maharaja, as everybody is proud of. But then at that point of time, government unfortunately did not think of encashing it. And a time came when there were no takers. And this should not happen. So from that point of view, the decision of the government to sell off a portion of LIC's equity to the public is definitely a welcome step and at appropriate time. This is more important. So by selling just 5%, government will be able to realize at least 70,000 crores, which is quite a sum in today's parlance. So from government's point of view, this is one part. Yes, one more point is SEBI has directed that in the next 5 years, government will have to dilute its stake to 75%. Means another 20% more will come in follow-on public offer, as we everybody know. Now, this is from that perspective, this is the advantage for the government. As far as insurance company, that is the LIC itself is concerned, what way it benefits LIC? LIC has been a well-governed company. Everybody knows about it for the last more than 60 years. It has been doing excellent business. More so, what is important is everybody thought that when private insurance companies will start operating in India, there will be a public sector life insurance company which probably collapse. But it did not happen. Actually, this is one unique example in India where after opening up of the sector, may it be a telecom or, you name a sector, airlines, the public sector company has actually gone down the drain. But this is one company, which is a unique example of its kind in India, which continued to not just maintain its share, but it came up to the expectations of everybody, that may it be on IT front, may it be on new products, whatever, customer satisfaction, claim performance ratio, persistency, you name a parameter, and LIC is on the top. So LIC maintained its position despite competition. And even today, they have got more than 60% market share with 21 years of competition being there. So this is very creative. Now, what way it will benefit LIC, which is already doing well? I think it will further do well. Because there are a couple of things which, if there is nobody to question you, you simply put it under carpet. This is a general tendency. I'm not saying LIC has been doing that, but this is a general tendency. Now, see, just imagine, everybody knows that a couple of years before, LIC invested huge amount of money in IDBI Bank. Whether it was a right sale or a wrong sale, what way LIC got benefited, rightly or wrongly, that is a different issue. But just imagine that LIC had a sale at about 65 rupees around, between 60 and 70. And at no point of time thereafter, it has crossed that price in share market. So obviously, LIC as of now has financial loss. They may have some indirect gain that the IDBI bank started selling LIC products and they have got huge amount of premium through IDBI bank. But these are all indirect benefits. But the direct loss is a financial loss, and which is even today to the extent of at least 25 per share. Now, after listing, there will be some shares owned by people like you and me who will have a right to raise his finger in the annual general meeting and question the chairman. That chairman, sir, please let me know what prompted you to make this deal and whether this deal was really profitable to you. Now, this is something which without listing would not have happened. So this is the biggest benefit, that there will be more transparency, there will be a better governance. Again, better I'm saying, means it doesn't mean that there is no good governance today, but definitely it will improve further. And the independent directors who will be on the board, because you know that there will be at least 50% independent directors on the board. And these independent directors will definitely, scrutinize and channelize and question the management in taking every decision, which probably in their mind is not up to the mark. So this way it will benefit the organization. And obviously in the process, the yield on investment may go up, probably the somewhat dubious investments, which probably because of pressure of the government or whatever you may say, have been made, may not be made in future. So this is one great advantage for LIC. The third biggest advantage is for the policyholders. One is they have been with LIC for so many years. As LIC's slogan is, Zindagi ke saath bhi, Zindagi ke baad bhi. So they have been continuing with LIC, and they have got one more opportunity now to change a hat and wear a hat of the owner of LIC. Now, from that perspective, he will definitely have some more ownership in LIC, and the policyholders definitely will get benefited. See what happens. There is some amount of shares have been earmarked to policyholders as per the DRHP, and 10% have been earmarked to policyholders and 5% to the employees. Now, these policyholders, when they get these shares on allotment, many of them, you'll be surprised, will be entering the stock market for the first time in their life, because the policyholders strata, which is with LIC, is not high flyers. They're all general public who probably have got maybe 1 lakh or 2 or 5 lakh of income like that, and they have not probably ventured into a stock market. We have seen in the past, LIC also has helped them in opening demat accounts. And if my information is right, at least 50 lakh demat accounts have been opened only because of intervention of LIC, help of LIC given to the policyholders. Now, these are the 50 lakh people who have never in their life have ventured into the stock market. Just imagine when this stock will get listed and they will find that, yes, it has given me good amount of money. Doesn't mean they should encash it. They will not encash it also. But the notional profit that they will have, they will see, will probably give them confidence that stock market is not something which we were afraid of, should be afraid of. We never entered into it in the past, but now looking at the share price of LIC, how is it going up? Probably we should venture into other equity market as well. So this will boost the participation of retailers in the stock market, which as of now is increasing, but still it is very low. This is one biggest advantage. Now, how is it that they will feel confidence? That is something which the care of which is to be taken by the government, because it is the DIPAM which decides the price. It is not the chairman of LIC who decides the price at which shares should be offered and shares should be sold. Now, see, the question is, you should not be too greedy that at whatever price I offer, it should get oversubscribed, and once it gets oversubscribed, then I will have a huge amount of money. No, that should not be the theme or the motto of government or the DPAM, because I don't call government as such. It is the DPAM who has got this prerogative. Now, for that, what they should do is they should have proper assessment of embedded value, proper assessment of multiple, proper assessment as to at what time you should enter the market, because right now the market is quite bearish. So this is not the proper time. Of course, there is still time for LIC to come up in the equity market, maybe in the first or second week, most probably in the second week of March it may come. And probably by that time, the geopolitical reasons because of which the market has crashed probably may get settled. So time is important, value is important, and greed should be discouraged. If these three things are taken care of by DPAM and it is properly valued, just take an example, because I have made some reverse calculations, because only two things are known in the DHRP, draft trade hearing prospectus. One is the embedded value is 5.40 lakh crores. And the second is number of shares which will be marketed, which will be sold, is 31.62 crores. Now, if we do some sort of calculation that government has reduced its disinvestment target from 1.75 lakh crores to 78 lakh crores, out of which government has already realized 12,000 crores we have seen. So as against 78,000 crores, 12,000 crores is already realized by government. So about 66,000 crores is something which probably government is looking at by selling LIC's 5% stake. That also has been made clear in the DRHP that 5% stake will be sold. So taking into account these three parameters, if we do some sort of re-engineering, we will find that if it's priced at 1,700, government will be able to realize about 54,000 crores. If it is priced at 1,800 per share, this is a 10 rupee share, bear it in mind, then government will be able to realize about 57,000 crores. And if it is at 1,900 crores, government will be able to realize about 60,000 crores. And if you make it 2,000 crores, then the realization will be 65,000 crores. Not more than 2,000. This is what is my view. 2,000 should be the upper limit at which the share should be offered to the general public as well as to the policyholders, because policyholders will get some 5% discount or something. So they will get it at slightly lesser rate. But 2,000 should be the upper limit, in my opinion, at which these shares should be offered. And it is possible to be offered at that rate because based on embedded value, the multiple which is chosen for determining the market capitalization is coming to about 2.2, between 2 and 2.25, which is quite reasonable. Because just imagine the multiple of SBI and ICICI life insurance companies is at about 3, while in case of HDFC Standard Life, it is at about 5. But their business structure is entirely different. LICs is entirely different. We know that LIC is into the deeper pockets, but at more people who are not that wealthy. So the claim experience probably may not be that favorable, and that is one reason why the term insurance premium of LIC is higher than the term insurance premium of other insurance companies. So the question is, taking that into account, a multiple of 2 to 2.5, in my opinion, is very well worked out. And if this multiple is kept in mind, then government should be in a position to realize between 65,000 crores. Everybody will be in a win-win situation. The policyholders will benefit. Employees also have got a reserved quota of 5%. They will also benefit. And on the top of it, the stock market will get additional about 50, 60, 70 lakh people who have never ventured into the stock market. So this is the biggest advantage. So this is what is my view on this IPO.
Very well said, sir. In fact, a detailed perspective here. Now, let me take one or two more questions, maybe one by one. The first is on the transparency, sir. LICs and behemoths, when they by any chance pick up one stock, that company will reach to a different level altogether, right? But there are always also questions were also raised. For example, investments which LIC made in ONGC at the last minute, and people felt, oh, it's a bailout investor of a government, right? That's kind of a headline which everybody will. And LIC has made certain investments in many companies as well. But now you said the transparency will be there. Policyholder, which will become an investor, will be able to ask the question because he's a shareholder now. which is very right. But will it impact by any chance on the LIC's decision of investing at the last minute in the companies? Maybe it's government-owned companies or maybe some other companies.
See, well, let us look dispassionately to this issue. Let us presume that government has been pressurizing LIC in the 11th hour to bail out these companies. Let us presume. Let us presume. It may be, may not be, but let us presume. Obviously, when there will be independent directors on the board, do you think they will allow this? Forget about that also. At least chairman will have a reason to say no to such pressures from the government that I'm sorry, boss, there are independent directors who will question me in the board meeting that why did you invest in this company at the 11th hour just to bail it out? So he will have one, what I call a safety wall, He will have a safety wall by way of which, even if there is a pressure, he will be in a position to say no. Now he doesn't have that. So this is the biggest advantage. And for this, in my opinion, whatever, you may say that government pressurized this and that, I know how LIC functions. It is not that at the 11th hour somebody gives a ring to the chairman and says that it's impossible because you should have so much of cash to put at that point of time. No, that doesn't happen just because of a call. If you don't have cash, what do you do? So these are all calculated risks which are taken. Some risks probably may fail. That happens in every business. But some shares at which LIC has invested right in IPO have yielded LIC huge amount of returns. So, but as I said, it will be a safety wall available to the top management of LIC to say no, if at all there is a pressure from government.
Right. No, I think this is a very good clarification and a very valid point that now they will at least say no if they want to. It's a good safety wall, sir. Now, let me come with one more question on the same side. And I don't think anyone else can give me a better perspective here because you're not only with the LIC bank earlier, but then an IRDAI. So the major challenge that LIC chairmen always, faced was encashing the equity out of the companies where they invested. Because the challenge is if they're going to encash the equity, they will sell the stock and automatically the proportion will come down to below 15%. And then IRDAI will say, now you cannot increase, right? So how do you see that panning out? I know there is some relaxation, but still LIC has, stake in more than 27 companies and it's a huge stake. LIC is a nominee on more than 59 companies as a nominee director, right? Will there be any difference of issues here? Because now LIC will be also listed company.
Yeah. Well, see here, there are two important issues which have to be looked into. One is, honestly, we don't have so much of depth on this stock market. If at all LIC wants to invest, still LIC cannot invest because there are restrictions. The appraisal of the company is required to be made. You cannot invest, any amount of money in any company. There is restriction by IRDAI as well. Although IRDAI at times in the past has given relaxation, but it doesn't look nice to go to IRDAI every now and then to say that I want to invest X amount of money, which is crossing 15%. Please give me relaxation. But at the same time, there are not many companies which are regularly paying dividend because there are norms of LIC. Where do they invest? If a company is not consistently paying dividend, LIC refrains from such companies in investing in equity market. Are there so many companies which consistently keep on giving dividend? There are no such companies. So LIC also has got restriction in operating in equity market. Although IRDAI Act allows even today to invest much more than what LIC has invested into equity market. But we should get some such solid companies where LIC will be in a position to invest. That is not so. So as the stock market will grow, we have seen last year there have been more than 50-60 IPOs. There are many more to come in the coming years. So as the market capitalization of the stock market will keep increasing, LIC also will have better avenues to invest. Right now, LIC doesn't have more avenues to invest, honestly. And again, see, Amol, the question comes, LIC is a public sector company. We should always realize that if LIC invests in ONGC, probably no questions will be asked because it's a government-owned company. If LIC invests in any state bank or any bank, no questions will be asked. But if LIC invests more amount of money in some group of companies, say Adani or Ambani or whatever you may call, obviously there will be a lot of eyebrows raised and questions asked. So that also has to be taken into account. So these are a lot of restrictions and limitations on investments of LIC in equity market. And despite this, the return on investment, average return, has been quite substantial. Every year you must be seeing that LIC has been encashing by selling shares and generating profit out of it, which goes to the with profit policyholders by way of bonus. So LIC has been doing that exercise quite well.
Noted your point, sir. And let me come and talk about the insurance industry as such now. Obviously, LIC is still the leader, no doubt about it. And in fact, still people call it an insurance, not just LIC, right? That's a synonym. But now we have 23 other life insurance companies. There are a lot of insurtechs coming into the place. Whole bank assurance model is getting whole aggressive. And now LIC will also be a listed entity. So the approach will be also different. Maybe people will look at it, okay, now certain part of LIC is also kind of privatized. How do you see the competition panning out? Because LIC with this 5% or maybe whatever, even going ahead, if they dilute 10% also. The challenge is that LIC will not have that liberty of calling themselves as a PSU company anymore, right? So will policyholders still look at LIC the way they are looking? And how the whole competition is panning out for LIC going ahead, considering 23 companies, insurtech, bank assurance models?
See, the question is whether it is a public sector or private sector is immaterial. So long as the customer is satisfied, he will definitely continue with the company. And LIC with a legacy of 65, 66 years of satisfying customers, if at all there is some jerk in between, then obviously there will be a problem. But there is no reason why there will be a jerk. Because by diluting just 5%, still 95%, and it will continue to be a public sector insurance company. Government has made two announcements. One is government has said that at no point of time it has an intent to bring their shareholding below 51%. This is one. Second is this section in the LIC Act, which gives government guarantee to the policyholders, is not amended or withdrawn. So government guarantee to the policy money will continue. So what will change? Nothing will change. What will change will only be probably how do we move ahead from good to better and from better to best. Looking at how the corporate governance will be taken care of, how the complaints will be disposed of, how the look of the branch should be. So these are the things which will definitely undergo a change. And I don't think customer has ever looked at whether my money is guaranteed by government. They have never invoked. I have not come across a single customer when I was in LIC who came and asked me, show me that regulation which says that there is a government guarantee. No point of time. So by diluting 5%, if LIC is in a position to continue to pay bonus to the policyholders the way they have been paying in the past, if bonus rates do not come down, if their total expenses on management, they come down, if at all their economies of scale, as it is, we have seen, they increase day by day, and the reach increases. If the industry is growing at X%, if LIC is in a position to keep growing at X plus something, then I don't think there is any problem. See, competition will continue. The market share, you cannot expect that it will be 80%, 90% when the competition is there. But maintaining 60% after 21 years is really credible. So if they continue to maintain about 50 to 60% market share in another decade, I think they have won the battle.
Noted your point, sir. Let me ask now one more question about the future of LIC. How do you see the future of LIC, and what do you think with your great experience that LIC should do going ahead, considering one, the young population, millennials are entering, they will need a different kind of insurance. And more importantly, if you look at the data of maybe last 2 to 3 years, not significantly, but there is some kind of dip into the persistency ratio of LIC. Obviously, there could be different reasons also, but to improve the persistency ratio, to engage with more customers, because now the responsibility will be more on the LIC's shoulder. So what do you think LIC should go? What should be the plan that the chairman and the board of directors and whole the management should
So good question, but I'm not advisor to LIC. But with whatever experience I have, I can say a couple of things. There are a lot of strong points of LIC. But in my opinion, if you are number one, you should not be number one only in market share. You should be number one everywhere. You should be number one in your IT implementation. You should be number one in all the channels of distribution, like bank assurance. LIC stands nowhere. LIC should be number one in bank assurance as well. In direct marketing, LIC stands nowhere. LIC should be number one in direct marketing as well. So wherever you are, customer satisfaction to great extent, I will say LIC may be number one or number two. Persistency, LIC is quite good. But there are certain issues, certain points where, like as I said, from marketing perspective, millennials, as you have rightly pointed out, probably the term insurance is something which is close to the heart of the new generation. And LIC's term premium is pretty high. So they should come out with some such, plan, which is available only to the young customers, and maybe for substantial amount of insurance, maybe 1 crore and above. But the premium rate should be matching with the private insurance company. So these are some of the things which LIC should look at, come out with better products which will attract the millennials. Mainly the term insurance product for millennials has to be where the premium is pretty low. And for that, they should offer maybe some sort of add-ons like annual health checkup or something different than what other insurance companies are doing. So these are the things which will help LIC to continue to be at a dominant position that it is today.
Noted, sir. I think remarkable points here. And I think I must stop here. I think I can ask more and more, but I think this is more than enough that what you shared here. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your interest at Economic Times BFSI. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Amol.